Uh, well, hello. Sorry about that. Jamie did not press go live, but I'll repeat everything I just said. Welcome to Fandom Access for February 20th. Tonight, we're going to, in a little bit here, I'm going to talk a bit about The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. No big spoilers. We're not going to leak. I know there's supposedly some leaks out there. I don't know. I don't do that. So it'll be definitely spoiler free, other than, the gist of it, of my feelings for it. And then we also have La Brea finale, Quantum Leap from last week, and True Detective and Resident Alien. So we will be getting on that. The only thing I need to do is get up a recap for Resident Alien, so I don't go way beyond what I'm supposed to.
Okay.
Because you know me, I'll forget which is what episode, and I forgot.
Yep. Here's AJ back with us. Give us a test audio, AJ. Let's hear you. Uh-oh. Now he's silent. AJ's having a few audio issues. But I guess we'll just move along, Jamie, until he can get with us, right?
Yep, sounds like a plan. Here, give me one second. Was that, other than that, I think that was the only thing that we had to do. Give me 1 second. I probably
that's
talk spoiler free
about
the ones who live now. I just want to tweet that so people see it. So there we go. AJ's back. Okay. Well, since hopefully people are listening, and like I said, I won't give away any spoilers, but The Ones Who Live start this Sunday. It's this Sunday, isn't it? It's this Sunday. I'm like, it's like, is it a thing?
Jamie, can you fix the back? Why can't I do this?
Because you're not doing it right. Hold on. I shall get it.
I know I'm not doing it right.
Wait, that's not. Oh, I see why. You and me are dumb because I did the same thing. That should have been under overlay, not under.
All right. Let me fix this while we're talking. I can do this. You can do this.
I was going to look up the date here to make sure. Yeah, it's on the 25th. So that starts this Sunday. Yeah, that's my fault. I think I told you background, but yeah, I don't know how you get rid of that unless we're off the stage. Maybe you have to press present. No, that doesn't work either. I don't know. But for right now, until you get the other one on, we'll just stick it on like that. All right. Us and our tech problems. We will eventually get better at this. So like I said, it starts next week. I can't really say, a whole lot on it other than I want to say the people's names right here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to look up so I'm saying the right names in the cast and not completely screwing them up. So for The Ones Who Live, I do have Jill's review up, who gave a brief. There, I'll put that on the background. Who gave a brief review on sort of I guess the Roshone part of it. Let's say her review is mostly on the relationship part of it. And then I have soon going up the interview that I had talked about before, which is going to be with the ones who play Okafor, which is Craig Tate, and Thorne, Leslie Ann Brandt, and General Beer, which is Terry O'Quinn. That'll be going up soon. I don't have that up yet, but it will be probably within the next few days. But I really like this show. I mean, granted, the other new series have been good too. I mean, I liked Dead City, and I liked, Daryl Dixon. I think I probably like this one better so far. Not that I didn't like the other ones. This one, I think, because I was waiting to see Rick and Michonne. And they're also involved in producing it and everything. So, they're making sure it gets done right. But I feel like this more reminded me of the original series the way it used to be, because it's more about them and less about the walkers. like I didn't feel like they were just trying to shove them constantly, all the effects and everything. Like the story is a lot more there on this than it is, on some of the. I'm not that, like, again, we like the other ones too, but I just think this one has a really good script and it's really emotional. I'm happy to see, Rick and Michonne again. Finally, we've been waiting. Like, there we go! Yay! Karen got it. Been waiting to see it forever. So it was nice to finally get to see them again. But yeah, without really giving a lot of, I know I'm telling basically nothing, but it's hard to really say anything without saying anything. Like I said, it's very emotional. Enjoyed the script. The music's really good. But I really like. I watched, the first three as soon as they sent it. Like I watched them all together, and then I watched the other one as soon as they sent it. So I definitely was like wanting to see more. It kept me entertained. And like I said, the writing was really good. There's a couple things that, maybe weren't 100% perfect, which I know once we get to talk about it next week, Karen, you can kind of, tell everybody what you think as well. But overall, I really liked it. And I think that the fans of the show are going to like it, of the original show. And I think, I'm opening the chat here. And I think fans of Rick and Michonne and of the Michonne fan base, the shippers, I think will like it. Yeah. And hopefully once Jill is feeling better, since she did not feel so great tonight, hopefully once she's feeling better, she can come on and tell us a bit what she thinks and maybe kind of her opinion as well. And like I said, next week we'll be able to talk spoilers, but for right now I really don't want to say too much, other than the cast is good. Even the newcomers, I really enjoyed the episodes. We're not really even allowed to say who's in what episode, so that's why I'm being really really careful what I say about what. But yeah, I think people will like it. I did like it a lot. And I'm waiting to see more, which it doesn't always happen. Like I'm waiting for them to send more screeners. So I'll say that.
So you can't even say like Michonne's in episode 1, Rick is in episode 2 kind of thing?
Well, they're in the episodes, but beyond saying, obviously we know Rick and Michonne are in the show. But that's about. They just don't want anything spoiled. And I know if you go online, people apparently today, because I know Jill was telling me, I didn't get a chance to look, but it looks like somebody's been spoiling it, which, to be honest, considering there was a premiere, I'm not sure why it's quite so hush hush, but I'm doing my due diligence of what I've been asked to do, and I'm not going to talk about it. But also when Jill comes, like I said before, she could talk about the premiere and the party and everything, and let us know if it was fun, which I'm sure it was. It looked fun, and I think she had a good time.
I mean, how could it not be fun, right?
Yeah, I know. That's why I said I didn't have a choice because of my foot, but otherwise I might have tried to get down there. It would have been nice. Maybe next time, right? Maybe next time.
Yeah. And how many episodes did you say it is? Or did you not say? Is that a secret?
Sure. I think, and this is I think. I vaguely think I remember reading somewhere there was 6, but that may not be accurate. So don't quote me on that. But we haven't seen them all. So, but Denai has also written for the show too. I was just looking to see to make sure before I said that. Has also written one of the episodes, and like I said, they're both Andy and her, both producers on it. So they've made sure, I think, that it's done the right way. And yeah, like I said, it kind of feels. I mean, it's a different tone. It's not, I don't want to say it's the same as the old show because it's not. It's still sort of a different tone, like they all are. But I feel like the writing is back to what maybe it used to be. That hopefully people will enjoy. And for the most part, I really liked it. So
Angela Kang is the showrunner?
I don't think so. I think no, Skimple's the showrunner.
Gimple is the showrunner. Wow.
But like I said, them being involved, maybe that's made a difference. I don't know. At any rate, I liked it. Were there some issues of a couple things that I maybe did not 100% like? Yes. I mean, there's always going to be, and I can't, obviously say any of that now. And I know that there's a couple things me and you are going to have a big discussion about next week. But yeah, we'll save that for next week.
Like, do they have walkie-talkies that work across 4 or 5 states?
Or do they leave and meet up with each other over and over again, right? We're usually saying that kind of stuff. But no, there's some stuff. But I can't really say anything else. So we will see when it comes. All right. Okay. So I guess moving on for now. And like I said, that interview will be up very soon. I have gotten behind on some things. I would have had it up by now, but it'll within the next couple days will be up. So moving on, I'm surprised Ark isn't here yet. I was gonna say let's move on to La Brea, but she is not here. I don't know. We're live. Yeah, we're live. Just double checking.
We're live.
Yeah, I don't know.
So good.
For whatever reason, maybe it's a night. There's a lot on TV. Everybody's watching the Quantum Leap finale. I don't know. But which, I had said earlier to you guys, both episodes for the finale are on tonight.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. You surprised me when you said that.
I didn't realize it either. I had thought it was just the one episode, and then found out it was both of them. So I guess really quick, I might as well just go into the La Brea finale because that was on the end of the season. I will just say I really, without getting into super detail about the plot, I like the way they wrapped it up. I think everybody got their happy ending. Everybody got back. Jill is talking to me. I'll tell her she can. However, I'm not good at typing and talking, not like I used to. If she might come, we'll see if she shows up. But I like that everybody got a happy ending. Pretty much, everybody got home. They wrapped it up. The only thing, there was a couple things that annoyed me outright that stuck out to me, and I told you this, texted you when I was watching it. There was one part where they storm the base with all the military men with their rifles and everything, and they come in and they get caught, and suddenly the the locals with all their bows and arrows and everything come running out, and somehow they beat all these men with guns really easily. I had a problem with that. Very much so. But I mean, those kind of things happen, and I mean, that's just the show. It's not 100% always believable, but overall I enjoyed it, and I liked the way they wrapped up the stories and got everybody home, and so it was nice. It had a happy ending. I like it having a happy ending. So
that's great. I am trying to figure out how to okay, see this I got this picture here that I can't figure out how to show, right? Because I don't know, because it's not an overlay, right? So I can't use this picture. I do not watch this show. And when I was preparing for tonight's show, program, podcast, whatever we're doing right now, stream, which I did incorrectly, there's a picture. If I take us off the stage, can people still hear me talk?
I don't know.
Because
I don't think so.
I don't think.
I saw a still from this show, from the season finale, that is like people riding in a Jeep, and there's a dinosaur like chasing them. And then there was another picture that appears to be a T-Rex that is about to bite a stealth fighter, maybe. And I was like, holy crap, how can I not be watching this show? How do I not watch a show that, and you know what? The dinosaur looked pretty good in the still that I saw. It was like a pretty decent, like CGI.
Wait,
I mean, it's just a still.
I'm
right?
adding the overlay right now while we're talking, so we can. There we go. Oh, it wasn't of your still though. That doesn't help you, does it?
No.
Yeah, I mean the effects on this are definitely really good, and you can tell they've spent a good bit of money on the show. I mean, That's what I said. I think you guys would have liked it if you kept watching it. I mean, yes, it does have some logic problems. I'm not going to lie. The writing isn't always 100% there, but I've liked it. But like I said, it's kind of one of those shows you can't take it too seriously.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's a thing that should be on my list for like a snow day or a sick day or a day when I have like to try to find something to do.
Yeah, and this season's only 6 episodes, so it's not like it's super long or anything. I mean, the other 2 seasons are long, but I just mean like it's not. It's done now, so it's not like a super long commitment.
Wow, the last season was only 6 episodes, huh?
This season, yeah, this last season was not the last as in the end, the third one. I don't know if I sounded right.
This was the last season.
Yes, this is the last season. There were 6 episodes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure how long the other ones are, but it's not a super long commitment if people want to check it out. And I think it's worth it. I liked it. And because it does end, which is great and doesn't always happen, you'll get to find out what happened, which is good. So
yeah.
Let me, while I'm talking to you, I'm going to put up the other. I'm putting up the other key art for Resident Alien. So
I can't download photos from the NBC site. Like they're on there, but you can't download.
I wouldn't worry about it. I got it. Are we ready to talk about Resident Alien, or was there something, or do we want to do Quantum Leap? Which do we want to do?
We can talk about Resident Alien.
Okay.
I have so many nice pictures all queued up, you guys. And they're all backgrounds, not overlays.
I'm not sure if.
And there's no way to deal with them. I seriously have like 25 pictures loaded up for us to talk about.
Yeah, I don't know. Here, wait, let's see. Can we put them over it? No, because see, now I have the overlay on. I'm not sure why. We're doing something wrong, clearly, that it doesn't want to let us do it right. We'll have to figure it out from Roger.
Yeah.
But we suck. But there we go. We got it. Yeah. I don't know. I listened to how to do it and I know he told us, but yeah. Other than presenting the whole screen, which doesn't really help because we'd have to have the pictures ready. So
I have them all. Yeah.
All right.
I learned a hard lesson tonight. Okay, so this episode picked up just like I guess a couple weeks after the season finale, which you guys know me. In preparation for watching this, I watched the last 2 episodes of the previous season, and I was kind of glad I did because I had kind of like lost the details of Goliath and Harry is Goliath and the baby and all that. So like I watched the 2 episodes where when Harry Lake breaks into to Linda Hamilton's facility to steal his baby back. And he also rescues Terry O'Quinn's baby. Terry O'Quinn is killed.
Well, he's not a baby. He's an adult now.
Well, he's grown up now, yeah. And the whole thing with the Greys, like, are coming to take over the planet. And, Darcy's...
There's a hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it picks up right after that.
Now, isn't this the episode where they have the whole opening music?
Opening music. Oh yes. Well, there are some lyrics being sung.
Yeah, like they played the whole. Well, I don't know if it's the whole. I shouldn't say that. I don't know if it's the whole opening, but they played the lyrics and played more than just what they normally do for the opening, which I thought was cool. Like that was neat. Yeah, I don't know if you really need to necessarily see the last season, like, because I don't remember much of it, but I was fine. Like, I know, obviously, I watched it, but it's been, I should do what you do. I should go back and rewatch it, and I didn't. But it kind of catches you up enough. But I think the one thing is the fact that we should talk about is that Harry is now working with the military and Linda Hamilton's character.
He has this,
is going to go real well. You know.
He has this like part-time job where he takes a secret underground train to Montana and he gets there in like 6 minutes, right? And then that enables him to also have his job as like the town doctor or whatever, right? It's kind of funny that he's able to do that. And he's like the worst employee. I mean, anybody who saw the sneak preview that what ran, there were like a little few behind the scenes things or promo things that were aired on SciFi that my DVR picked up, and there was like that clip. It probably was on YouTube also, where Harry's like the worst employee in the whole place because he thinks he's so much smarter than everyone, and he's just like, forget it, I'll just do it. And he won't let anybody else do any work, but he doesn't get anything done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's that like running joke there.
Yeah.
Well, that's typical Harry.
Yeah. And so
through, I don't want to go too far.
Well, I can't show my pictures. They remind me that other things that are happening, that Sheriff Mike is dating Detective Torres, right? They have this breakfast date.
Yes, which she was in last season, but
but they're like truly dating, and he's like the ultimate, of course, male chauvinist, and you know, that's mostly just for comic relief.
Yeah, he's
Darcy,
not like her paying for things.
Yeah. Darcy's living with Asta and her dad as part of Darcy's like recovery. And Joseph, the gray human hybrid, has gotten himself a job as sheriff's deputy so he can spy on Harry. And Harry thinks he's spying on Joseph, right? They're both like, so that's like the main storyline, actually. Joseph coming to town. I can't produce a picture of him because NBC is thwarting me. But he's pretty hot. He's a very good-looking guy.
I still think of him from being from Dollhouse. So,
that's going way back.
Yeah, but that's still what I was trying to see. I had his name here a second ago. I'm so bad at this lately. That is not him. That is not him.
His name is I got his name. I got a picture of him.
I had it and then I lost it.
Anyway, his name is
Enver Gojcat. I don't know how to say his last name. I'm going to butcher it if I try. Enver. Let's just go with that.
Yeah, he has a name that is I'm not familiar with how to pronounce it. Enver. I'm going to look it up while we talk about it. But so he is going on a date with Asta. His name is Enver Jokai. Enver Jokai. Sorry, Mr. Jokai, that we didn't know how to.
Yes, we apologize. That's why I said I didn't even really want to keep trying because I knew I was going to mess it up bad.
I looked it up.
So yeah, he's in this now. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I just still think of him as being from Dollhouse. That's what I always think of, even though that is like forever ago. What did you think, AJ? You're quiet. We can hear your mic's working or was working. If you want to add your input.
I was waiting for you guys. I always think of him from Dollhouse immediately too, but I also think of him from Agent Carter.
Oh, okay.
It's from Agent Carter. Yeah,
that would be why.
Anyway, there was, as usual, it's pretty funny. The one thing about the episode that annoys me, I really want the kids to get on the same page as everybody else, because the kids are actually really smart when they're figuring things out. It's when they think they've got things figured out and don't that drives me nuts. Like, they're convinced that he killed Terry O'Quinn's character, and they don't even know the half of what's going on, which is kind of annoying because usually they're pretty much ahead of everybody else in figuring stuff out.
Yeah.
But Sahara is gonna she leaves Max. I was looking to make sure, and also she leaves him a note. She's trying to get him new friends because she's not going to be there.
Yeah, because she's leaving.
Which I hope doesn't come to fruition. I mean, it probably will. I don't know. There'd be a reason why it wouldn't, but you know,
Well, she's not
I
even.
really like the two of them.
Yeah, I know, and that really annoys me because she isn't even in the promotion pictures.
Yeah, Max
It's like the whole cast minus her.
And then the other big story, I was trying to scan. I don't want to go too far. What about Kate and Ben?
Oh, so that was huge, right? That was like a huge reveal at the end of last season, right? Or into this episode that
About the baby.
Ben has been being taken probably for a long time by the Greys
Since he was a kid,
right? And now it turns out that Kate has also been taken, and like they're growing their baby upstairs on the Greys have their fetus on the mothership, right?
Yeah, which is not good.
Yeah, like that's kind of a huge like turn for this show, I feel like.
Yeah, it's a little dark. I mean, they thought that they didn't have a baby, that the pregnancy didn't take or whatever, and we find out they did. And I mean, that's what happened to the Trackers baby. So I mean, I guess it makes sense, but
yeah,
kind of surprising that the two of the main characters are getting abducted and had that happen.
Yeah, and it's it didn't really work out because like I mean, he was being held, right? Terry O'Quinn's son was being held in the facility by the government. It's not a good future for a person who is whether either the aliens get you or the military gets you, right? Like either way, it's not a good scene, I guess.
Yeah.
But it does seem as though maybe Ben and what's her name? Kayla. Kate. Ben and Kate might be starting to remember, or they're having this weird reaction to seeing like she had the rope bracelet on, and it was making him like sick, thinking of like reminding him, I guess, of being abducted. And there was something that Ben had that was making
Ben had a coffee mug made with a sonogram on it.
Oh yeah, which is a little. I mean, I could see why that would bother her, even if she hadn't been abducted, right? Like, and just to spring it on your wife like that, like, yeah, that is an unsettling.
Well, Ben's an idiot, so.
Well, he is an idiot, yes.
And she's just like, "We'll move." That's her solution. They're gonna move.
Oh, because of the owl. Well, because of the owl.
Yeah,
the owl's freaking her out. Yeah,
the owl that stares at her. I gotta say though that opening scene with him when they're lowering Ben to the bed and they're like, "All right, just release," and he bounces on the floor.
Oh yeah,
it kind of did it.
Yeah, that was a little.
And he's like, "Hey, I woke up on the floor again."
Because they just drop him there. Yeah, that seems like that's taking a turn. I don't know. I don't know what direction that's going in, but that seems to be like taking a little bit of a turn there.
I kind of like
darker.
Yeah, I kind of like that they're doing it though, because it kind of brings Ben and Kate into the fold a little further.
Yeah,
because it's like Asta and Darcy, they know about Harry, and the cops are all investigating it, so they're in the thick of it, and then and Ben and Kate were kind of on the side, and now they're being abducted, so they're kind of involved.
Yeah. So I thought of you, AJ, when I was watching this, because when we talked last week, you said you couldn't wait to see the kids and see how old they are.
Yeah.
And they're definitely older, but they're not like jarringly. It's been a long time since
Sahar
on, right?
Sahar looks the same. Max is the one that looks different. Max is like thinned out and shot up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's hit his growth spurt.
Yeah, but he doesn't look like terribly, it wasn't like he can't play, not like too old to play the role, or not like tall wall
Tall
too.
wall.
Like it felt like Walt got out of Lost because he was just too big, right? Like the whole show takes place, like the whole like majority of the whole show takes place in like 180 days, but it was shot over years, and this kid just couldn't, right?
No.
But this doesn't appear to really have gone that way. So I as far as Sahar leaving, I don't think she will leave. I think if she was going to really leave the show, why didn't they just have her move away off screen? Why like bring her back just to say I'm going to the special program, I'm leaving? Like couldn't
I don't know. Other than people like her a lot, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean,
I'm not sure how she would convince her parents not to.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just have to see how that plays out.
I mean, and it is a storyline, I guess, more about Ben, who doesn't really seem to have like other friends besides
Yeah, she's trying to
right.
She
And
could be in the rest of the season though. I mean, really.
Yeah, I think I wonder if she's really being written out of the show, or something will happen that she not being written out of the show, but going to be off the show for a while, or I don't really know. That was interesting storyline to me, because she's like kind of the brains of that operation between the two of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was interested in that, and I also so there was a scene where Harry breaks into Asta's house because he gives her this like makeup compact to put in her purse, but it's bugged so he can spy on the conversation, right?
And she doesn't take it with her.
And she doesn't take it with her, so he breaks into the house. I don't know why he has to break into her house to get it, but he does. And Judy's in there taking a bath, and there's this like comedic. There's this comedic scene about how Judy like breaks into Darcy and Asta's place, and
just to use their bathtub.
I kind of like Judy. Like I don't know if I have always liked Judy, or if I complained about Judy. Like what I like about Judy and what I liked about her in this episode is like Judy's like the she's kooky and she's boozy and she's crazy and dysfunctional, and when I felt like at first she was added to make Darcy like look not that bad, because Darcy was the crazy. And I feel like I really feel like Judy like takes on a lot of that maybe comedic stuff that Darcy used to own, as they have given Darcy like meteor story and a different and as Darcy's working on herself and trying to not be that person over the last arc and into this season, right? Like I feel like it's good. It's a good move to like it allows some of that comedy to remain while Darcy tries to become a more serious person. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was trying to see. I remember, reading. She had been it says 2022, so not this season, but she's a writer on the show too, I guess.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not sure. I'm guessing that, and I don't know, but I'm guessing maybe she just like joined the cast, because she was already part of the writing team. I don't know, but yeah, she's written a couple episodes. But yeah, she's funny. Her and her cat. I forget the cat's name, but
oh my god, that poor cat.
I think his name is Kevin.
Kevin. Yeah. I don't know. In fact, she's bathing with her cat. It's really funny though.
He's hairless.
Sometimes I feel bad for Judy though. Like she kind of got no friends a lot of the time and just kind of hangs out. Like that's why she's there in the first place and nobody even notices. Like how long has she been coming to Darcy and now Asta's place just to use the bath.
Well, she is always trying to be like, oh, Darcy is my best friend, and trying to inflict herself on Darcy. And Darcy is sort of always trying to like get away from her, right? Because she is a little bit crazy.
Clingy and crazy, yeah.
But yeah, I felt like as I was like, oh, I get it. She's like picking up some of the I don't know, some of the comedy and some of the inappropriate behavior. I mean, Darcy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Darcy still
thought about it that way.
Darcy still can be inappropriate, but yeah. So I'm trying to think of what else was going on in this episode that we should talk about. That there is to really, I mean, it's the season premiere, so it's a little set uppy, right? I mean, so there was this other big news that Asta was like trying to get her father to kick Darcy out because, well, for a couple of reasons. First of all, Darcy, I think, is like having too much fun with Asta's dad. He thinks she's like a little jealous. And her dad is like Darcy cooks all the time. Darcy cleans all the time. She plays video games. Like Darcy's like a great roommate, right? And Asta's getting a little sick. Well, Asta is pitching it as Darcy's like personal growth requires that she get back out on her own. She can't just stay here and hide from the world, as Asta's story. But I thought maybe Asta was a little like jealous of the time that Darcy was spending there, or I don't know, maybe she just needs her own space and there's just not room for another person there.
I hadn't thought about that way. Yeah, I thought it was more like she needs her own space. I hadn't really thought about it that way. But yeah.
But Asta's always like, you're right, Asta, you should move out. It's time for you to like get out on your own. It totally backfires on her. And her father's like, you're right, it's time for you to move.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
So those two are looking to rent an apartment together. Or maybe did they rent one by the end of the episode? They were looking for an apartment. I don't know if they found one by the end of the episode.
Don't remember.
I can't remember.
I've seen further, so I don't want to mix anything up on that.
I can't remember. They're gonna move in together somewhere. And I think that is it in this episode also? Oh no, it's in this episode that Asta's daughter, Jay, asks if she can come back to work at the clinic, right? Or is this the one where she asked her to help her pick out a dress?
I didn't think either was this episode. You might be thinking of one from last season.
Did those both happen last season?
Yeah.
Those both happened at the end of last season that she's making.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought they were in their own apartment at the beginning of this episode. Like, you just totally lost me from it there. I was like, wait.
Yeah,
did I not watch the right episode?
Was that the end of last season when Asta's father was like, you got to get out?
That might have been. I think that was last season.
Was.
So when Judy breaks into the apartment, it's not Asta's apartment with her dad. It's Asta's apartment with Darcy.
That actually makes more sense.
Okay.
Yeah, you confused me. I totally was like, and then you started talking about Jay, who wasn't even in the premiere. I'm going, wait a minute.
Okay.
Did I watch somehow the wrong episode?
So that's why
I watched too far forward, and Karen watches too far.
Okay, so that's why they have an apartment, because at the end of last season, Asta's
you're right. He kind of kicked her out.
Okay, all right. That I won't even talk about. Then there really wasn't anything in this at the end.
What about the sheriff and Liv, their case? I feel like there's some in this episode, I believe, them looking at the van or whatever.
Well, they found Terry O'Quinn's van, right? Terry O'Quinn, the UFO hunter, the alien hunter. They found his van. They don't, and like she's worried something happened to him. Mike won't listen to her. Then they find his van, and the surveillance footage from the nearby camera shows that there was another we know the other person in the van is Harry, but the face is obscured, right? And nobody know. They're trying to figure out they can find out who was with him in the van. Then they can find out what happened to him, maybe.
Yeah, that's what they hope.
And we know the other person is Harry, but they don't know.
And as usual, Mike is the butt of all jokes. Like when they're in the bar and she's playing the loud music, she's like, "If anybody is watching us," and he's like, "Who has diarrhea?"
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and you just knew. You were just waiting for the. It was
I was waiting for the music to stop.
Happen,
yeah,
but it was you're waiting, and it's
you knew it was gonna
hilarious.
happen.
Wondering, yeah. So yeah, I kind of like that. You know, I kind of like that storyline because it brings us back to like the season 1 and 2 mysteries of like having the cops on the case, and are they going to find out that Harry's an alien? Like, remember when it turned out that Harry had killed Sam, but it was human, you know, the previous Harry, like the who killed Sam thing, and Harry as a suspect. And we're kind of, is it going to be who killed the alien hunter and Harry as a suspect kind of thing? Maybe. I guess it won't be exactly, but I like them bringing it around to another like active mystery for them to be solving, right?
Yeah.
That
yeah, and he needs to start listening to Liv. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah,
well, that's part of the shtick.
That's never good.
Yeah,
exactly.
I know.
He's
He
never
needs to
gonna
listen to her.
Yeah, I mean that's the shtick that he never will, and I mean, and no one listens to anyone who believes in aliens, right? Like, of course, you're not going to listen to her that it's aliens, but
true.
Yeah. So, I also like the twist, which was a reveal at the end of last season when Goliath was like, "Oh, the only person who can help you is General Manning." Is that her name, Linda Hamilton? And I made the mistake and I killed her. So, like, you can't kill her. Try and work with her. And that was kind of a nice twist that has ended up putting Harry in her office, and like. I don't know if she's going to be like how much recurring, but it puts, Linda Hamilton and the government like I don't know. I like the way they did that to like kind of keep her as a sustainable character who makes sense.
Yeah. And now they're going to work together
and not having to be like trying to shoehorn her in here and then when they can, right?
Yeah. She's an end of it.
Yeah. I kind of like the way they did that. And she's in the cast photos. Like, they do the cast portraits, the official cast portraits. Linda Hamilton's among them. Which encourages me how much airtime she might get. Sahar also is a full cast portrait. So
yeah, I think they're considered series regulars, but I don't know how you can tell.
I mean, you could be a series regular and not be in every episode, but it makes
they're not
more than just a guest star, right? Which is great.
Right.
And real quick, I just thought of something else that was pretty funny. The end of the episode when Harry's sitting at Asta's bedside, and he's like, "I couldn't do it. I couldn't kill you."
Oh yeah,
you're my kryptonite.
That's right. His solution, if he killed her, then he wouldn't care about the great, right? The only way that he can not care about saving the world is to kill her, but he cares too much to kill her. He makes this long, convoluted like speech to her, monologue. It was cool, yeah. That
was pretty great.
Yeah, and she actually goes from horrified to sort of touched.
Yeah. Well, coming from Harry,
he loves her too much to kill her. He finally, I think, realizes that he's growing, which is good. He's evolved.
Well, she said in the beginning of the episode, you got to deal with Harry like he's a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
I think we
covered this one
up pretty good. Yeah.
I think so.
So on to Quantum Leap.
All right.
Okay. On to Quantum Leap. We do have a picture, some key art there.
I got it. My only question is, if we don't take off the overlay, is that going to cover the video? I don't know. We'll find out. So before we start, we might as well do the video. I talked to, was it this week? God, my weeks blur together. I talked to Raymond earlier in the week about the show, and although it wasn't a post-mortem, so people can watch it, it's not spoilery. And we talked about Ben's relationship with Hannah and Addison, and then I asked him about the episodes airing tonight because he gets to play a fireman. And although he wouldn't give me any spoilers, he did talk about getting to play a fireman and how much he enjoyed that. So let me see if I can get this video clip to play. I got permission to put them on here. Let me take that off a second because I'm feeling that's going to cover it.
This information maybe you can give me that isn't quite spoilery, but I just wanted to ask. It says that you play a firefighter and there's a Tyrion photo. That's the little log line. What was that like? Because I'm assuming that there's a lot of action and special effects and that kind of thing in there. So can you just sort of talk a little bit about that part of the episode?
It was so hot.
It was so hot.
Yeah, like much
that.
respect to everybody on the cast of Chicago Fire and every show and movie that came before, because those turncoats, it's like another 30 pounds of just equipment. And also that helmet, I think I was drenched for 2 weeks straight in my own sweat. It was very hot. But that's it. Yeah, but being in that place, one of my dreams as a in my preschool graduation, I said there's a recording where I say my dream when I grow up is to become a firefighter, and seeing myself in the turncoats and the helmet, and while I was and getting changed, I was like, this is insane. This is really just one of the coolest things about this job, is just a wish fulfillment of every wish that I've had growing up as a kid. But this one was so specific. I wanted this. But yeah, and also to pay homage to the Towering Inferno. And that's one of the great bits about this show, is that we get to continually do that. It was just very cool. It was a very cool world that Ben and Derek created, and I was happy to live in it.
Let me put our Quantum Leap picture back on. There we go. And that was from Friday. See, I told you I can't remember my days. I looked it up. That was from Friday. So yeah, and you can watch the rest of the interview with Raymond on scifivision.com or on our YouTube page, and also the interview with Caitlin and Eliza is there from I had posted last week as well, if people want to watch it. So yeah, so that's up. But as I had said earlier, both episodes, I know we're going to talk about last week's episode, but the season finale and the episode before air tonight. I'm not sure. I don't think it's been announced if it's been renewed or not. I sure hope it has been. But yeah, so there we go. I got the video clip to work. Yay.
Cool. So that's for the episode that aired tonight, not for the episode that
yes, that clip was about the episode that airs tonight, but we're going to talk about last week's, since a lot of people haven't seen it yet. But that doesn't spoil it, at least. So, all right. Yeah. Well, so last week was with the reporters, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought that episode was pretty cool. It's different.
Well, it was kind of more like a leap of the week kind of episode. Hannah is not in it, right?
No. Her voice is.
What?
Her voice is. He calls her and gets her voicemail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he finds out also in this one that her husband, even though he did get to tell her about her husband going to die, he died in a car accident. I think it's a car accident.
Yeah, car accident.
Dead.
He dies
anyway.
So he's trying to get to her. But my point was, I like the other. He spends a lot of time with the other reporter in this episode. I really liked her character. I liked it. I thought it was good. Typing it while I'm talking.
Yeah. Her name. She was a famous reporter who had lost her job somehow. In New York,
because somebody committed suicide. I think.
Yeah, her source committed suicide.
Yeah, so she didn't handle it well, and she didn't want to keep going in those kind of stories. So she ended up doing small news stories like The Biggest Pumpkin and The Town or whatever. And that ends up connecting with they're using the stuff that they were using to make their pumpkins big is the stuff that this company is going to put out because they're like one of the test places, and it makes people really sick.
The fertilizer.
Yeah, the fertilizer, and as in,
no, sorry,
and
it wasn't fertilizer. It was
something like that.
It was pesticide. It was the pesticide.
Okay,
or,
pesticide.
Or
but
weed,
as you hear in a lot of stories like this, it is less money for the company just to, you know, pay for the whatever happens with the people that get sick than to pull the product, and that's basically what it's about.
Yeah.
I'm trying to blow it open and get people to see the truth.
And so there are constant Watergate references throughout this entire episode, right? Where, you know, Ben and Addison are clearly, you know, having fun or really, you know, I mean, they really are kind of getting something out of this leap, the two of them. Yeah, there's a ton of these references, and it actually, you know, it involves like a lot of like sort of mystery, and you know, the one brother like fakes his own death because he doesn't want to, like, I guess he's worried that his own brother might actually like kill him. And you know, it's a very I mean, I don't know where I'm going with this, but they have all these references there.
It's kind of a dark episode.
It kind of is. Because it's like a lot of like corporate evil. Like they know about the test results, and I mean, they don't know what Ziggy knows, which is like 11,000 people eventually die of cancer in the future, right? But they do know that in like many mice died, right? They know that it was a the test results are bad, and they're hiding it to just make money.
Yeah, as companies do.
Well, yeah. So that is kind of dark and terrible. But there's like other stuff that goes on here also in this episode that is kind of huge, right? So, and part of it is Addison's ongoing. So Addison, like last week, told her boyfriend Tom that she needed some time, and this week is like the official breakup between them. So that was kind of big. And it leaves me kind of like, what? Like, I text you guys, I'm like, oh my God, he's not evil. So all of that, what was the point of all of that if he's not?
I know, you were saying that last week, and I'm like, I just kept my mouth shut.
If he's not evil, what even is the point? I'm sorry.
He told us
right?
the point. Tom told us the point.
An obstacle for him and Addison.
Tom even said, he's like, we were meant to fall in love and we were meant to break up.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is dumb. I mean, meant to because the writers wrote it that way. Right?
She's not wrong. No, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's meant to because that's what the writers wrote, not really for any other reason. He turns out not to be evil. He like leaves the show. He like why is he there? I don't know. I was a little like, I mean, okay, so I'm upset. I was angry about it because how can I be wrong?
Like, Karen doesn't like to be
we
wrong.
won't get into that.
Like, I just don't want to be wrong. So there's that, right?
Yep.
I'm glad you were wrong though, because I would have hated it if they went that route, because that's cliche. That's all, you know.
Yeah, at least it's surprising. You got to give it to him for surprising us.
I mean, one thing that did not surprise me was that Magic threw himself under the bus.
Yeah,
that did not surprise me either.
That was the other thing that happened, which is like this guy Gideon. So this is a part where you just have to like suspend your disbelief of the show because like
really suspend it.
right? Because
that whole thing doesn't make any sense to me.
It makes no sense at all that this civilian guy who like is the civilian guy who like basically extorted in so he could spy on a secret government project is pissed that they used his software. Okay, so they did steal a piece of code, or his employee wrote a piece of code that, however that happened. The idea that he could be this rando civilian would just waltz in. First of all, how did he even get in? I told you this last week. How does he even get inside a secret government facility?
He's super rich.
Even the government doesn't know about it. He just walks in, and now he's the boss of it, and he's pissed, so someone's got to get fired. Like, they're part of the Department of Defense, and he decides someone's got to get fired, but he doesn't really care who. It makes no sense, right? It's terribly.
It's kind of poorly written, but the reason behind it, I feel, and that's the thing, I feel like this something happened so that something else can happen, because now he's gonna be like, I feel like he's gonna end up their boss.
Oh yeah.
Like, well, yeah, because he owns the tech that runs that.
But the reason he gets away with this is because he is apparently a huge private contractor that is constantly helping the government, which is why they're so eager to please him.
Yeah, and you still have to suspend your disbelief a little bit.
Yeah, this is a show about time travel, and this is where we need to suspend our disbelief.
Yeah, it is. So, like, I think you're right. He's going to be their boss because that makes sense. Also, he knows nothing about anything, and he's just going to be the boss of this time travel or secret time travel organization that nobody knows about, right? Like, that's crazy. I'm a little irritated that they lulled us to spend an entire season thinking Tom was bad to only introduce a bad guy in the second to last episode of the season. Right? This guy's like never been seen before. Okay, last week was the third to last, but whatever. This guy randomly shows up at the end of the season, and he's going to be the bad guy. I doubt he's going to be a good boss. I mean, his first act was like firing Magic. I mean, Magic. It was obvious. It was obvious. I agree with you. It was obvious Magic was going to take that one, and it would have made more sense actually. Like this idea, like, oh, Tom says someone's got to be fired. You should choose between Ian and Jen, but we really need Ian around here and we don't need Jen, which unfortunately is kind of like a metaphor for her part in the show because like if they fired Jen, I wouldn't really care. Like I like Jen, but Jen is not that much, doesn't have that much to do as a character, right?
At least recently.
She's security.
Yeah, she's a supporting character, not a starring character. And she has not had a lot to do besides help Ian with his hijinks every now and then.
Yeah, like you could probably swap out a different character and
they could have fired Addison.
Just get rid of her. Yeah, they could have fired Addison and maybe should have because of her inappropriate relationship with, not that it was inappropriate that she was engaged to Ben, but it's inappropriate for her to be in this role with their personal turmoil going on, right? She's never been alive. But it was so obvious. But really, let me finish my thought here. I think what is more realistic is always the boss has to take the heat. When this kind of crap happens, which is really bad, it's the boss's head who rolls. And it might have made a little more sense to just have Tom fire Magic, and then we can all really hate Tom in the way I've been wanting to for a long time.
Karen really wants to hate Tom.
Yeah, she just wants a reason to hate Tom. I agree.
But it would have made sense for him to have to be the guy. Like Tom. Okay, like let's face it, Tom had zero personality anyway, and he really just existed to be Addison's boyfriend, right? And like, it would have been appropriate for him to do something instead of be like, oh, I've been here all this time as the boss that does nothing and everything got fucked up. And I'm just going to leave because my girlfriend dumped me and you decide who to fuck. Like, if I'm worried about realism, Tom should have fired Magic. But Magic took the heat. I don't think Magic is gone. I mean,
no.
He also has had very little to do this season.
From the show, probably.
he's had very little to do on the show, Magic, his character this season. And which maybe that's fine also, but I don't think he's gone. I mean, you can't fire him. He's from the original show. Like, fans will go insane if he's really off the show, unless Ernie Hudson wanted off the show.
Well, excuse me. I think probably eventually this bad guy will get whatever he has coming to him. And they won't need him there. He'll be able to get rid of him, and then Magic can come back. At least that's my guess.
I don't think he can be gone. Unless there was some reason why he wanted to get off the show. Which I don't. Look, I saw interviews that Ernie Hudson has given where he said, this is not the end for me, right? Like, he knows.
And he's gonna play things from the outside right now. We'll just have to see how it plays out.
Well, yeah, he's very super connected, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's been Quantum Leap since the beginning, and he knows senators and Congress people also and whatever. Like, maybe he can just
we did learn something new about Addison this week. She wanted to be a journalist when she grew up, when she was a kid.
Oh yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
No,
she's very.
Those were actually some fun scenes with her and Ben when they were investigating everything.
Yeah, that was. It was a fun episode, and it was kind of. You said it was dark, but it was also kind of lighter, I guess, because it did not have the personal stakes that other leaps have sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, and when Addison, I kind of saw this coming, but when Addison tells Ben that that Josh is gonna die in a car accident, like he died in a car accident, like a couple of weeks later, I looked at the TV and I was like, Charlie, no matter what I do, you're gonna die.
Yeah. I thought of also, what is that quote? The universe has a way of balancing out,
course correcting.
The universe has a way of course correcting. Like, you can't stop him from dying.
Yeah.
In the end, because they're meant to be together.
I was going to say, except that's what Ben does on the show all the time.
Well, no, he puts things right that once went wrong.
Yeah, I know. I'm just teasing.
So, Jamie, we were talking. You've been interviewing a couple of the Quantum Leap cast members over the last couple weeks, right?
Yeah.
Several of them. And at one point, we talked about asking some of them, are Tom and Hannah like endgame? They're not. Or are Tom and Hannah, are they just distractions for Ben and Addison so they can realize that they really are meant to be together? I don't know if you ever asked any version of that question.
I didn't specifically outright ask it in that way, no, but because she had already broke up with him when I did the interview, I think. But yeah, I mean, I know that Caitlin talked a lot about how, because of what happened, both of them are a lot different now. That both her and Ben, I mean, are both different people just because of the events, and that so they may not be the same together. But both her and Raymond, though, both sort of said that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't get back together. That there's always hope, and I think right now they're just kind of leaving it open for both.
Well, yeah. I mean, they can't be together at all because she's a hologram and he's lost in time. But
So it's still going to be whatever time-crossed lovers, no matter which one he's with. But
it's funny because when the show started, we're told that Ben and Addison are a couple, and while believable, I've never really felt the chemistry between them the way I do between Ben and Hannah.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I agree with you. And I don't know if it's because it's just how it's written, or if it's because Addison and Ben are like both pretty like straight personalities, and Hannah's this like free spirit that was introduced to the mix. And we do get to see them touch and kiss, which also kind of helps in the believability of chemistry aspect, right?
That's true.
Just but aside from that, I mean, just the way they interact, the interactions are very different, which could come down to the writing, or it could just mean that Eliza just gets on a screen and everybody has great chemistry with her. I don't know.
Could be Eliza Taylor. So you're making me think. At the end of the episode, near the end of the episode, when Addison says to Ben, she's like, "Oh, Tom and I got engaged, and then we broke up," and he has no strong reaction. Like, his reaction was more like, "Oh, really?" Not like, like a person that
he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." He basically was like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that." Not like, "Oh, yay!" No, you know.
He probably hasn't had time to process it, though, to be fair.
I mean, they didn't actually ever break their engagement except for the part where she had him declared dead, right? Like,
yeah, you should be like, "You were still engaged to me."
Well, that's one way to break an engagement.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but he wasn't hurt. Like sometimes even, you know, we've talked a lot about the timeline for him being not that long.
Yeah.
And to learn that she was engaged didn't really seem to affect him, and that she broke up didn't seem to affect him.
Well, I kind of feel like, maybe I'm wrong, but I kind of feel like he was already broke up with her and was never, for all he knows, never going to see her in person again. So maybe like it wasn't, like it was more her breaking up with him that maybe it didn't really affect him after that point. You know what I mean? Like it was like, what did it matter if she wasn't going to be with him anyway, type of thing. I don't know that that's why. I'm
like, all right, let's look at. Hold on a second. Let's look at it this way. Ben didn't know who he was. Then, as his memories came back, he realized who Addison was. He started remembering more and more and more. So he remembered how much he loved her and everything, and it was how painful it was that she was only a hologram. Then for him, he's gone for a day. For her, it's 3 years. She's since had him declared dead. Tells him, "Hey, we're not together anymore because I'm dating somebody else because you've been dead for 3 years." He's bitter and heartbroken, but because of the type of person Ben is, he gets over it. Falls in love with Hannah, and then she says, "Oh, by the way, I was engaged and broken up with in about 3 days." So it's been a little roller coaster.
It has. I guess what I took from his non-reaction is that he's really not in love with her anymore. And I think she might still be in love with him. And it's what stopped her from getting married. That, like, of course, they were going to get married the same day they got engaged also, right? Like,
yeah,
I mean, she has unresolved feelings. One of which is guilt, right? I mean, one of her unresolved feelings is the guilt of having him declared dead, and he's actually, like, trapped in time with no help.
But we've talked about this before, how the lack of knowledge of how much time it actually has been for Ben is problematic.
Yeah.
Like if week to week we're seeing a day for Ben, then he never should have fallen in love with Hannah in the first place. If we're not seeing every single leap, and it's actually there's been more time, then yeah, maybe, you know, like if each leap is if we're only seeing one leap out of a month, you know, so he's having 3 or 4, you know, so it's a little longer time period, then it's more understandable.
Like we only see the world-changing, life-saving leaps, and in between he's got boring leaps where he has to, like, I don't know,
save a puppy from a tree.
Save a cat from a tree, or make sure, like, I don't know, you know, something like happens, but not on this level. Yeah.
Although probably not ones with Hannah, or we would have seen them.
Well, no.
Yeah. All right. So what aired tonight is a double episode, 2 hours.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. So people can tune into that.
All right. We'll budget some time for that next week, but we won't have Night Country. So, Yeah. All right, so Jamie, you're gonna drop off.
Yeah, I was going to, before I go, since I did mention it last week, and I'm still, along with everything else, working on it. But I am in the process. I'll have to share screen in a second. I'm in the process of making some different things at eventually you'll be Etsy, but right now like Redbubble and stuff. Some of them are going to be Fandom, some of them aren't. But it will all help to pay for a server to fix my site issues. So if you want to help support us, you can do so and get something cool while you're at it. Hopefully you think it's cool. But I was working on, let me see if I can share screen. Let's do the right. Share window or screen. I want to share screen one. I think I did that right. Yeah. Okay. Let me see now. Show what I'm showing. Are you seeing it? No, you're not seeing it, are you?
I see it.
You see it? Okay, then I guess it works. Okay. So I was getting some different Roshon and also Rick and Michonne stuff up for hopefully for to get done if all goes well before the premiere. Because
I don't see that on our screen.
What? I don't see it on the screen either.
I see it on the bottom, but I don't see it on the.
Oh, you know why? Let me drop the overlay. Hang on.
Nope.
No.
Wait, hold on a second. No, that's not.
I have share screen, so it should be working.
Did you do present?
Yeah, I did.
There you go.
No.
Oh, hover over it again. Did you hover?
There we go. Okay, so as I was saying, I have some different ones that I'm going to be doing for Walking Dead type stuff, but I wanted to get something done for Rick and Michonne to have up before the premiere. I thought that some of these would make like nice designs for stickers or shirts or whatever. I'm kind of, flirting with different ideas. So if you have ideas, please tell me. I was looking at doing different.
I gotta tell you, Jamie, that image you made of Rick and Michonne right there shows more chemistry than those ever put on the screen. Like you've captured.
Oh, those are fighting words, Karen. No, I do. I like Rick and Michonne. I have no problem with it. But yeah.
No, but you remember their love story happened like in a time jump, and they were just together all of a sudden.
Yeah, there wasn't as much on screen, but I do think that they have a lot of chemistry in the new series. But I have to paint his tie yet.
I gotta see this. Have you been reading the Draco trilogy?
I don't know about it. I usually read Snape and Hermione, which I shouldn't admit. But
oh my god,
I didn't know about making artwork for that though, because I didn't know if people would accept it. But I was trying, like, kind of flirting with different fandoms and different ships and things to do. And then these were just some of the fairy designs I already had done that I was making stickers of. So that's kind of that's the normal sort of style I've been messing with. But I think probably if people follow the podcast, they would more care about the fandom stuff. But I've been looking at maybe making some Last of Us stuff. Different shows that we talk about. But if anybody has any ideas, please,
Surely you've got some Doctor Who in that portfolio.
Yeah, I have started. I was doing one with the 12th Doctor and Clara, but I wasn't done with it. So I'm going to try some of them because I think ship things, people a lot of times want ships and can't get them when it comes to merchandise and stuff. So
like Draco and Hermione.
Yeah. And hopefully with the new show, people will like Rick and Michonne stuff. But we'll see. So anyway, that'll be coming soon. Just keep watch on our social media, on Twitter, and that when it does go up, I'll post it. But I'm hoping to at least have some of that done on before the premiere. And I have some other things. There's like a skull design that I had. There's some other. I think I still have this. I was gonna say I disconnected it. I can't show you because I disconnected it. I had let me get Photoshop out. This was one of the designs I had made before I actually sold one of already.
Yeah.
That was some of the stuff. Yeah. So, but see, I was just kind of messing around with putting them on on Redbubble and stuff. So anyway, now I can't get my there we go, my mouse over. So that's to come. But anyway, so stay tuned. The only other thing I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really have to say. I think I've mentioned most of the stuff. I did Traders today, but you guys don't watch that, so that doesn't really help you.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, I did. It's a reality show I really like. So I did an interview for that today with Bergie, and that's going to be up soon. And I'm trying to get some other things, but right now I think I've mentioned everything. The main thing is that I need that Resident Alien stuff and the Ones Who Live stuff will be up very soon.
Okay. Before you leave us tonight, Jamie, are you watching Halo, which came back earlier this month?
I have not yet, but I will be.
Okay. I don't know. I didn't really love last season, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna. Well, no. You know what? I canceled Paramount, and I'm not paying just to watch that show. So,
well, I have a press account, so I don't really.
Yeah.
Really worry about
that.
I
know. Okay, and so also before you leave, Constellation premieres tomorrow on Apple TV.
Oh yes, those we'll have at least one of those up by tomorrow as well, and that people need to check out if you have not. I've mentioned that a couple times before.
Yeah, you've mentioned a lot, so I'm gonna watch it. And next week, the night of our podcast Shogun premieres, and I know AJ and I both want to watch it, but I don't know if we'll talk about it on this or not.
Yeah, maybe just the premiere. I'm gonna try to at least check out the premiere, assuming I have time.
Okay.
All right, but yeah, look for Constellation stuff. And like I said, as always, you can always find what's going on by going on, especially Twitter. I tend to tweet more than anything else. I gave up trying to update my Instagram. I'm really bad at Instagram, so can't expect notification on there. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, guys.
All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
I am going to click off. Okay. Bye-bye. Have a good night, guys.
So I did manage to load up True Detective while we were talking. So this is the only show that I managed to reload the images that I did incorrectly. I hope that all of our listeners appreciate that this is on the job learning for us. And we're getting a little better at it every week. Season finale of Night Country, 75 minutes. I don't feel like it was enough time to wrap it up, and yet I feel like a little more discipline in the previous 5 episodes would have made it enough time to wrap it up. There were some satisfying things and some disappointing things, I guess, is how I'll put it.
Disappointing.
Yeah. What is your main beef? I know what my main beef is.
Main beef? Jesus. Where to pick from?
Yeah.
I think my biggest thing is, and I saw it coming a mile away, the last minute, here's our killer that makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah. There are a lot of plot holes or plot assumptions, jumps, and many of them are related to the resolution of the crime, right?
Yeah.
So I just loaded up some images of some aspects of this we might want to talk about. Starting with Navarro. It was after leaving Pryor at home to clean up the dead body of his father he shot 5 minutes ago, which seems like not a good idea. They go to the ice cave. I was paying a lot of attention to the set. I am not sure that it looked perfectly like an ice cave, but I have never really been inside an ice cave. And also, this must be one of the hardest sets to create that I can imagine. Trying to come up with, like you can't build an ice cave and have that, like you have to have some sort of shiny whatever. I think they did a pretty good job of creating like I guess it looked a little too much like a man-made hallway, but in general I thought they did a pretty good job of creating that. It was a bit of a the way in which Navarro knew exactly which way to go to like see Clark, and he's down there wearing a blanket. I can't. I guess part of my problem with this show is why are certain people like bundled up like they're going to freeze to death, and other people wear a blanket and are fine. But
yeah.
But anyway, it turns out. I mean, I guess the ice cave has been a little bit of a confusing thing for me for several episodes because, like, nobody's ever heard about it except certain people are like, "Oh yeah, I knew about that forever. Everyone knows about that," but nobody knows. Like, what? Right? Like, is it known or is it not known?
Apparently not known.
Right.
Until you need to know. It's need to know.
Yeah, and I thought it was really far away, but it's directly beneath the station, the science station,
well,
right?
I guess the way Danvers has slept with everybody in town, so the professor guy that she slept with that they went to get the maps from.
Oh, he knew about it, yeah.
He said the caves actually scan all over the place, but they're they're underground, so nobody knows about them. But I actually that was a whole an oh shit moment for me when they climb up the ladder. I was like, oh my god, it was underneath the
whole time. The whole time.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of stuff in the episode. Like, one thing about this whole season has been, okay, is there a supernatural element or is there not? And I guess I guess there's a supernatural element as far as ghosts go. Because did you see Annie in that scene when she's trying to get the generator started, and the lights come on for a second, and she's like out, like she's very tiny in the distance. And then the lights go out and come back on, and she's gone.
So that was the most annoying appearance of any ghost because it's the only time we see a ghost that the characters don't see. And you and I had discussed different ways that these could be visions or hallucinations or religious experiences or whatever. But this seems to imply that ghosts are real.
Well,
right?
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Like they up to the last second, they're trying to get us to believe that Annie came back from the dead and killed these people, or her ghost did, or something. And then we get the big reveal that all those women did it. And I don't have a problem with them doing that, and being the ones that killed them and everything. I actually thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, there you go. Perfect picture you got there. I thought that was a great scene. The problem I have with it is it made no actual sense.
Yeah.
Like the way it was a shock value. Here's the killer, and like, they always say if you show a gun in Act 1, it has to be used by Act 3.
Yeah.
You can't just all of a sudden pull a handkerchief out of your pocket that nobody has seen the entire show. So we've seen the two characters, the other ones we've seen lingering, but we've seen the two characters because that side story when we first meet Navarro that we think means nothing, during the whole abuse storyline. It just seems like a side story. It actually has a point because it introduced us to those characters, so that when they give the reveal at the end, we go, "Oh, okay."
Well, she earlier she got that call to I think it was a seafood processing plant where like a woman has attacked a man but it turns out he was abusing his, like she hits him with a bucket B, this lady in the bathroom. She had hit him with a bucket because he was abusing his wife, and Navarro ends up arresting him, not the woman who assaulted him that she was called for. This ending, them being the perpetrators, like I kind of like it flows along with so much of the show being about female power and female, like it was such a woman-centered story this year with Danvers and Navarro and other characters and whatever. And Annie having been killed, and then it is women who like the indigenous women like take the power and kill those guys. I kind of like that. It makes no sense though the way it happens, right? Like the idea that. So I like the part where the bucket spills and she sees that it's a trap door and finds what's below. It is not believable that she goes down the ladder and walks a pretty far like at 50, 100, 200 yards through. I don't really know how far it was, but it
wasn't that far.
But it wasn't that close. You had to go walking around. It wasn't like at the bottom of the ladder, right?
But it's like it kind of is. I mean, the ladder's in that room that we see with all the,
Oh, it is.
I mean,
all right, well, she goes down there. Yeah. She sees this equipment. She manages to pick up the one piece of equipment and be like, "Oh, I think this is definitely the thing that killed Annie with the star shape, whatever. Yeah. Let me call my friend in the coroner's office and like get a copy of the autopsy report from 6 years ago and like use my forensic skills to figure this out, and then get my secret cabal of midwives." Like so much of everything that happens, like including that all the scientists together really killed Annie. Yeah. And first of all, the fact that they were involved in this horrible like crime where they want to like increase the pollution output, that also makes no sense scientifically, any of that, right? But look, I don't know how pollution melts permafrost deep enough that you can get a better core sample out of it, and it's never really explained about the magic organism that's going to change the world forever. Like they don't really know it's going to all that is a little right. Like so much of this relies on so many people knowing everything and nobody saying anything, which I guess could happen. Like we've seen many shows. Culture of small towns or whatever, and in this case the women say, well, police won't do anything, and I get that, but it does defy expectation that anyone who's not a scientist could go down there, immediately find the one thing and be like, oh, I think maybe 6 years ago, right? That whole bit of it. It also doesn't make sense that, so they drove the guys out onto the ice to die. And yet they're found in that giant, corpsicle where they all still look terrified and are screaming. Where, as the vet had said 3 episodes ago, if you freeze to death, you just sort of like lie down and go to sleep. And this is not what a person looks like when they.
No, it's because of the avalanche or whatever the hell they called it.
But that was a lie.
Well, I know that. I was being sarcastic.
So it's implied, like the supernatural thing is implied there.
It's still implied, yeah. It's still implied.
Even when Clark dies, and here's a picture of Clark, like he goes out into the snow, and he like falls onto his knees, and right
when they were interrogating him, and then she lets him go out to die and everything. I was so pissed off. I'm like, why did she not videotape him during the confession? And then of course we see at the end that before she let him out, she had him confess again. Which was pretty smart. So I was happy about that.
Yeah. Although why didn't? Yeah, and then Danvers is so mad. Like, why'd you let him go? He's the only witness. But 5 minutes ago, Danvers was going to let her shoot him in the head, like, even though he was the only witness. Like, Navarro's going to shoot him, and Danvers was like, yeah, whatever. And he did deserve it, right? He deserves to die.
Yeah. Well, especially since, as he's telling his story, saying that he never laid a hand on Annie, you see in the flashback that he actually smothered her because she wasn't dead yet.
I mean, do you think she was like dying painfully and it was a mercy killing. I mean, she maybe could have lived,
I think
right.
if that was the case, then he says that and doesn't say that I never laid a hand on her.
I would never hurt her. I would never hurt her. Yeah.
I mean, she very well could have been dying painfully, but had he called for help, maybe she could have lived.
Yeah. I don't know that I buy like 9 scientists, 5, 6 guys, each like, it was very like the killing of Caesar, where everyone takes the knife and stab, right? Like every one of them stabbed her.
It was like Lord of the Rings.
I mean,
Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies. That also was a little like, I mean, for so many scientists, and other people have maybe worked there and rotated out, right? To be in on the deliberate poisoning and kill, like 9 babies died like in 3 months, right? Yeah. Like the deliberate killing of the local community to like save the world, and then brutally killing this woman.
But the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Yeah.
No, I agree. There was a lot. Oh, and then there's also the one there was Annie's tongue that never got answered because they said something about that to the women. They're like, yeah, that had nothing to. Yeah, we don't know what that you're talking about with that. We didn't have anything to do with her tongue.
No.
Like, oh, Hank must have did it as a warning, but where the fuck did it come from? It just been sitting around for 6 years, and somebody grabbed it and threw it on the floor.
Like Hank is the person who kicked her. You know how she's like kicked and beaten after she's already dead, and he could have cut out her tongue. He cut out her tongue as like a sign, like people who talk. She was talking against the mind. They wanted to look like a protester thing.
But where does it come from?
But where was the tongue for 4 years, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
that's my whole point too.
Well, like, did Ghost Annie put it there?
Exactly.
Or what?
That's
why
the
would
problem? There's too much.
Yeah.
There's so much that's ambiguous. Like the ending. Like, do we think Evangeline just walked out onto the ice and died?
Well, but I don't mind that as much. I mean,
or is that really her at the end, or is that her spirit? Because Danvers says that whole thing about the thing about around here is nobody ever really goes anywhere, or nobody ever leaves, or whatever the saying is.
The thing is, like, you see her, it's summer and it's daytime, and she's walking onto the ice. And was she going for more of a meditative experience as opposed to a suicidal experience? Right. And the idea that there have been sightings of her, which almost implies that she's wanted for a crime, which she's not, right? Like, she just quit and went away. Like, but the idea that there have been sightings because so many people see dead people in this town, or she's been coming around to see, like, what that last shot of her on the porch with Danvers. Like, is she there? Is she not there? I don't mind that so much. You know what I kind of minded? I mean, we saw multiple flashbacks of Jodie Foster happy with her child, and her husband, who that might be the only look we ever got at the husband. And it appears it was a terrible car crash, right? We saw a terrible car crash. They're dead. I love the scene where she yells at Navarro and she's like, stop with your religious bullshit. She's like, don't say it. You don't get to say that my son is like, I'll kill you. I'll shoot your mouth off, she says. I thought Jodie Foster was very powerful and excellent in that scene. And then it's followed up with her like having her own like hallucination of her son, right? And then she falls in the water. She almost drowns. By some miracle, she doesn't die after 20 seconds in that water. And Navarro like says, oh, your son talks to me. He says he sees you. And like suddenly Jodie Foster's like heart is healed and she becomes a nicer person again. Like I just thought I just thought it was a little too tied up with a pretty bow that Jodie fought like Jodie Foster almost dies. She cries in Navarro's arms and she's like able to move on from her. I mean, I guess other people who watch this might appreciate a more mystical kind of thing and see it as a transcendent moment for her, but that's not the show you and I were wanting to watch.
No.
For
Not
other
the show we
people.
were. You know, I almost feel like I would have felt better actually if it turned out it was Annie's ghost that killed the men and not the horde of women, simply because then it cements the supernatural storyline. You know, otherwise it's just all this dangling the whole time, and there's no confirmation. And I'm sure that was their intent, was to not confirm anything, but we see too much as the viewer to not give us. I don't know.
I don't know. Many reviewers and critics have said if you took the words True Detective off this show, a lot of people would have liked it better. But setting aside the fact that you can never live up to season 1 of True Detective, just it sets an expectation for me that this show is a little more grounded in reality than it maybe was in this season, and tying it to like time as a flat circle and a spiral is not an adequate, like, I mean, anything like that seems supernatural in season 1 was like a little more homage and explained away and tied to the criminal, to the perpetrator's like mind view or whatever, right? And not like literally people seeing a ghost. I did enjoy I didn't exactly enjoy that. But despite the complete lunacy of leaving Finn to cover up that crime, I liked like his bit of his end of his story. I mean, it was probably not a good idea. He's very inexperienced. He's very inexperienced. He probably doesn't really know how to clean up a crime scene. It's his father who he shot, right? Like there's so many reasons, but I kind of, I enjoyed it because when she sends him to Rose, that was a good scene, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know why Rose is like the local disposer of bodies.
I don't know. But that bothered. That there was something else too, though, that maybe I didn't understand the scene. But when he takes Leah back to his house, and I forget his wife's name. She comes outside, and
her name is Kayla, I think.
Kayla. He says he needs to do something, and then he'll leave with her. They don't leave. They stayed there.
Did he say we'll leave, or he just said I'll be with you?
No, he said I'll leave. I'll go wherever you want to go, or something to that effect. And then she kisses him and tells him to stay safe. And then in the final moments when she's being questioned, he comes in to the room. I'm like, okay, well, he didn't go very far.
Well, where could he really go?
I don't know. It's just I got that.
First of all, he'd look guilty, right? Maybe. I don't know if he would. If anybody would think that guy would kill his father, but where's he going to go? He's never lived anywhere else. She's never lived anywhere else. And Danvers is like is she a mother figure? She's certainly a mentor to him, right? Yeah.
Definitely a mentor.
Yeah. But I like the scene where he says, I mean, Rose trusts Navarro, so she takes him out onto the ice to dispose of she knows how to dispose of a body. Like, I'm not sure it occurred to me that you have to cut it open to let the air out of the lungs so it sinks, right? I thought maybe they should have not put it in a plastic bag, and like if they maybe some whales would eat him if they just let him float down there, but whatever. She knows how to dispose of a body, and there's this great line where she says, "You think the hard part's over? No, the hard part is the rest of your life."
Yeah,
like living with this, right? I really
speaking of stuff, good lines about Hank. When Danvers is being questioned, and she's like, during the summer, everything thaws. We'll find them. Maybe we won't.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we won't. We'll fight him in the spring. We don't really know. I did read after last week's episode. I read an interview with the two actors who play Pryor Senior and Pryor Junior, and their names are Bennett. Finn Bennett plays the younger Pryor, and is it John Hawkes plays Hank Pryor? And he said that he felt it was a little bit of a suicide by cop moment for Hank. That
Yeah, I can see that.
That he lost his wife, he lost his Russian internet fiance,
his mail order bride.
He's not getting the job, and he's just killed a man when he said he was not a killer, and he maybe didn't really intend to kill Danvers. He just needed to do what he needed to do. But in that moment, when Peter lowers the gun and then he raises the gun again, that Hank realizes that Peter has chosen Danvers. He's just lost his son. Like Peter has chosen Danvers, and he's really got nothing left to live for at all. And that it's a little suicide by cop, although he doesn't really address in any of the interview that I read, what a shitty thing that is to do to your kid. I'm like, wait, maybe if you made Danvers shoot you, that would be kind of better, right?
Well, Danvers couldn't shoot him because Danvers had the gun
pointed at her. She put her gun down and he took it, right? But yeah. If it's suicide by cop to make your son do that, or I guess he figures his son has chosen it, and so the actor felt that it was suicide by cop moment.
Yeah, no, I could totally see that in that scene. That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, overall, looking back on 6 episodes, I loved the cinematography. They shot it in Iceland, which was totally worth it. The acting of all the principal characters was generally really strong across the episodes. Jodie Foster, of course, was, she's great. I mostly liked the idea of the mystery was really good, right? I just it just gave us too many red herrings that are unresolved, and
endings are hard.
And I really didn't like the music at all in this show. I hated the Billie Eilish theme song, and I was
gonna say other than the Billie Eilish parts, I don't even remember the music.
Well, there was that horrible Twist and Shout, which they played several different versions.
Oh my god!
I
forgot. Actually, I forgot about Twist and Shout until they went back, and she ripped the fucking DVD player out.
Yeah,
I'd forgotten about Twist and Shout.
But they also had that creepy cover that was played several times. It's only 6 episodes, and they played Twist and Shout a lot, right? I get it that her son liked the song, but there was some other music. I just generally found the music distracting, not the score, but the
I know
the licensed music, the songs that they played.
There you go, Karen. That's the difference between having kids and not having kids. I didn't even notice it. I tuned it out.
Yeah, you people with kids tune things out. I was like, why? This song is distracting me. Sometimes music with lyrics distracts me in a show. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's not.
Yeah, it's hit and miss.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it. This is better than a lot of stuff that I have watched.
Yeah, there's worse ways.
It was flawed.
There could have been worse ways to spend the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, the finale is the only episode that I watched the same day that it aired. Simply because after episode 5, I was like, I need to know what the hell's going on.
Yeah. Oh, I meant to ask Jamie. Jamie watched this show on AMC called Dark Winds, which was about the murder of a woman or maybe some women on a reservation in the lower 48 here, right? Somewhere out west. It's about the reservation police and this murder of this woman. And Eric Kane, who is the critic on Forbes, who I love, he's my favorite recapper of Fear the Walking Dead because he hates it so much. He hated this episode in a way that I thought was really unwarranted. He hated it, and he had a lot of complaints about it. But his big complaint that I was about to mention here, which just went out of my head, what were we just talking about? The music. What were we just saying about it? So I didn't watch Dark Winds, but he thinks the idea that all the cleaning women did it is a ripoff, and the whole environmental like blah blah was a ripoff of Dark Winds. Apparently, it spoiled all of Dark Winds for me. That he said a lot of people online who watched Dark Winds in the first episode of True Detective were like, "Oh, I figured it out. These guys are like in with the mine, and whatever." So now I got to watch Dark Winds to see if it really gave this away. But apparently the show is pretty similar. According to him, better. Eric Kane really hated this. He was really it was really a very very angry review. Maybe he just hates everything. Maybe he's ruined from watching Fear the Walking Dead.
Sounds like the review I read. Sounds like the review I read today of Madam Web.
Oh, that Madam Web is getting killed, huh?
Ooh. And by the cast too.
Oh yeah. They're are they disavowing it?
Well, apparently
Dakota Johnson, right? Doesn't even
Dakota Johnson, and Sydney Sweeney both thought they were joining the MCU.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had no idea that it wasn't attached.
I mean, it's based on a Marvel comic, but it's not part of the MCU. It's like a standalone.
It's not based on a comic because there's no comic Madam Web. It's based on a character in Spider-Man comics.
And this is from Sony. It's not the MCU. It's part of the Sony.
It's Sony.
It's part of the Sony, right?
I guess Dakota Johnson fired her agency.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I get it.
I actually can't wait to see it because everything I've read about it being so bad, I just want to laugh at it.
Well, yeah, and weren't they planning a bunch of spinoffs and stuff?
I have no idea.
I think Sydney Sweeney and some of the other characters are future Spider Women who they wanted to spin off other movies and whatever, right?
I don't know if there was their plan to do that in the future, but only thing I know is Venom 3 is going to piggyback off of this movie, from what I understand.
Well, now I want to watch it, but I don't want to pay to watch it. I got to wait for it to come on streaming.
Absolutely.
Fast, right?
Don't. I would not pay money to see this.
It might come out pretty quick.
I keep joking with Artie, because he wanted to, he was excited for it. He's like, I think it could be pretty good. And then we saw the trailer, and he's like, oh my god. He's like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And then we've both been reading different reviews, and he's like, I don't want to see it. And I was like, come on. I was like, if nothing else, we've got. I was like, Sydney Sweeney's hot, and we get to see her in a skin tight outfit. So I've been messing with him about that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be bad. So, all right. Well, we'll put that on our schedule for when it hits streaming. We're not going to go out and see it.
Oh no, absolutely not. And I actually read one little blurb that said it makes Morbius look like a masterpiece.
Oh, ooh, that's rough.
Yeah. So, anyway.
That is rough. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our show, I think, huh?
Yes, it does.
All right. So we're back next week with Resident Alien, Quantum Leap.
2 episodes of Quantum Leap.
Yep. Constellation. Jamie and I will watch Constellation on Apple. If you want to watch it, you can join us in talking about it.
I feel like that's it.
And I think that's what we got for next. I don't know what just happened there.
There's stuff coming, just not quite yet.
Right. American Horror Story is back in April. Interviewing the Vampire in May.
Oh, do we finally have a date? Jesus.
Yeah, I think it's April 3rd. I think it's April
I had
3rd.
no idea.
Yeah, I don't really want to watch it, but I'll see it through to the bitter, ugly end.
Gonna have to watch the first half again. Jesus.
Oh, it was so bad. Don't do that to
Kidding
yourself.
how that went.
It was so bad.
Discovery
All right. And maybe Jamie will have some more.
is back in 2 months.
2 months.
Or like a month and a half.
Yeah.
So Discovery's
April.
back, but it must be back in April.
All right. Well, we got stuff coming. We'll just have some roundups in between. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening.
Well, thank you everybody for listening to us. And,
Roger's been lurking. Thank you, as always, for hosting us here at NDB Media. We really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you next week.
All right. Good night. Thank you.